Hello everybody, Lost Guy Team here, another episode of Empires of the Undergrowth. We need more space. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do one of these challenge missions. We'll do it on easy. Just so I get through it faster because it's a redo mission. The slight increased difficulty from easy is not worth my time.
This young queen has successfully raised her first daughters beneath the leaf litter of the rainforest floor. The nutritious fungus she fed them as larvae is now dwindling. If they don't find food quickly, they will all starve. The juicy grubs nearby are a staple meal for many underground opportunists, but for now at least, they will go ignored. This budding Atacephalotis leafcutter colony has only one viable source of food, and it must be collected above ground.
Everyone say.
These rove beetle larvae are distant relatives of the European devil's coach horse. Despite a few million years of separation, they share the same carnivorous appetite, razor-sharp pincers, and most importantly, a fearsome final form. The small scouting party of minor workers could lead any number of deadly jungle creatures back to their undefended queen. They will need time and luck on their side. The workers have located a patch of young seedlings, just what they were looking for. The leaves are soft enough to be sliced up with ease and carried back to the nest. The harvested leaf chunks are not eaten directly. Instead, they are used by the very smallest minim workers to cultivate a nutritious fungus. The ants' activities outside the nest have not gone unnoticed. They are being watched. The most accessible leaves are located to the north of the nest entrance. However, another atta colony has already laid claim to them. The close proximity of these nests places the two colonies in direct competition with one another. Time will tell which has the potential to grow into a great empire, and which will submit to the unforgiving law of the Undergrowth. As the sun sets below the horizon, and the thick rainforest canopy shrouds all but the slightest glimmer of moonlight, the predators of the night begin to emerge. Predators are loose in the nest. The larvae must be protected. The ants must protect the queen. Phorid flies are attempting to lay eggs into the heads of ants on the foraging trail. Those traveling towards the leaves can defend themselves. Those lumbered with cargo will need assistance. A fly has injected one of the workers with an egg. The ant's internal organs will be slowly dissolved and consumed by the developing larva. Daybreak has arrived, and the creatures of the night scurry back to the dark crevices of the undergrowth. For the ants, however, the objectives of the day remain unchanged. Locate vegetation, defend supply lines, and process leaves. There is no time for rest. A fly has injected one of the workers with an egg. The ant's internal organs will be slowly dissolved and consumed by the developing larva. A brightly patterned jumping spider, Casviri purpureus, has subdued one of the workers. This expert solo hunter combines extreme agility with incredible forward vision, allowing it to pounce on unsuspecting prey with pinpoint accuracy. An ant has fallen prey to a wandering harvestman. Its long, slender legs keep its vulnerable body elevated high above the leaf litter, and when threatened, it can release strong-smelling odors to deter other predators. A stern response will be needed to drive this striding nuisance away. The ants will fight to the death. Overwhelmed by the defensive leafcutter forces, the harvestman decides to make a swift exit. The leafcutters have raised their first major ant. Its swollen head is filled with muscle to power its crushing jaws. Few stand against it in combat and escape unscathed. This champion warrior will make a fine addition to the colony. These leaves are contested. The leafcutters will generally not attack unless provoked, but today there's too much at stake. Only a strong show of force will deter the opposing colony. Leafcutters aren't the only ants nearby. Whilst the two atta colonies joust for territory, Odontomachus bowery trapjaws roam the clearing. They can be found hunting alone or in small packs for vulnerable invertebrates to take back to their nest. They use snapping jaws to bludgeon their targets, exerting 300 times their body weight in a single blow. The opposing leafcutters have retreated from one of their harvesting sites. They may have been easily startled this time, but they'll soon be back, and in greater numbers. The ants must defend themselves. The opposing atta colony has retreated from one of its sites to the northwest, leaving unguarded foliage ripe for the picking. Night falls, and under the cloak of darkness, velvet worms, bush crickets, and harvestmen emerge from their hiding places. Any ant straying from the relative safety of the trail will likely meet with an unfortunate end. A Paracanthus varius bush cricket has spotted the ants. Its thorax and appendages are adorned with sharp protruding spikes, offering 360 degrees of protection and turning its substantial forelegs into a pair of deadly flails. This spiny devil will not easily be deterred. The leafcutters have clashed northeast of the nest. Opposing leafcutters have been cleared from an area to the northeast. Harvesting operations can now continue. Predators are loose in the nest. The larvae must be protected. The leafcutters have clashed northeast of the nest. Opposing leafcutters have been cleared from an area to the northeast. Harvesting operations can now continue. The leafcutters have clashed northeast of the nest. As the sun rises over the treetops above, the diurnal jungle invertebrates emerge once again to replace their nighttime counterparts. The ants will remain steadfast in their efforts. All must be risked for the harvest. One of the ants has fallen prey to a young, leaf-mimic praying mantis. Once in range, its long, razor-clad forelegs can ensnare and impale victims with lightning speed. Foraged flies are attempting to lay eggs into the heads of ants on the foraging trail. Those traveling towards the leaves can defend themselves. Those lumbered with cargo will need assistance. A fly has injected one of the workers with an egg. The ant's internal organs will be slowly dissolved and consumed by the developing larva. The ants must defend themselves.
Before I collect the full amount, I'll attempt to storm their nest and kill their queen. But let's say like I'm like 1,000 off, I'll then stop and attempt to storm their nest.
A territorial dispute has arisen between the Atta colonies. Opposing leafcutters have been cleared from an area to the northeast. Harvesting operations can now continue. The battle has begun. The leafcutters have clashed northeast of the nest. Forage flies are attempting to lay eggs into the heads of ants on the foraging trail. Those traveling towards the leaves can defend themselves. Those lumbered with cargo will need assistance. The leafcutters have secured a vital harvesting site from their opponents. The ants will fight to the death. Dusk approaches. As the twilight fades, the daytime creatures withdraw to their hidden refuges to wait out the darkness. The ants can afford no such luxury. The cogs of the leafcutter machine will grind on throughout the night.
There we go. Getting the horde prepared.
The battle has begun.
Let's see if we can overwhelm their queen. I want to see if there's even a possibility, because if I can't do it on easy, I'm not going to be able to do it all.
The opposing Atta colony has retreated from one of its sites to the northwest, leaving unguarded foliage ripe for the picking.
I think the rate of the mazes just spawning inside of the enemy queen's chamber is going to make this possible. Even on easy, I'm having it. I can't even bust through this. Oh yeah, that's it. I think that's it, yeah.
Foraged flies are attempting to lay eggs into the heads of ants on the foraging trail. Those traveling towards the leaves can defend themselves. Those lumbered with cargo will need assistance.
But yes, no, they've made that literally impossible. You can't kill their queen. Just the constant spawning of enemy majors inside of the queen's chamber. Because if they weren't spawning majors in there, the queen would be dead. I'm assuming they just didn't program it during the game, so they're like, that would be very awkward if they somehow killed their queen.
Predators are loose in the nest. The larvae must be protected. A fly has injected one of the workers with an egg. The ant's internal organs will be slowly dissolved and consumed by the developing larva.
The amount of leaves we just collected from that one plant alone is enough to end the game.
The hillside Atta colony is falling behind. With their demise at hand, they have no choice but to strike back at their opponent. The ants have subdued their rivals and achieved dominion over the clearing. As the competition withers, they will extend their territory in all directions, firmly establishing their agricultural empire. One day this colony will number in the millions.
Come on now, my little ants. You need space to grow. Dig, dig, dig!
I'm sorry, what was that?
I wasn't talking to you.
I need to do one more run for food. Probably actually multiple more runs for food, as I'm thinking about it. But unfortunately, that'll be it for this episode of Empires of Undergrowth. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, and peace.